Infrastructure Committee, Mr. DeFazio.
Thank you, Chairman Carvajal. Thanks for this important hearing today. You know, all of the witnesses here before us today play a vital role. The Coast Guard, the Federal Maritime Commission, the Maritime Administration, in our marine transportation system, and obviously as an ocean-going nation, we have tremendous needs in this area. I want to start the same way as you did, and the ranking member, by congratulating the Admiral, thanking him for his strong leadership. Chief, thank you. These were pretty tough and turbulent times for the Coast Guard, and you've gotten through it in good shape. For whatever you're going to do next, best wishes. I'd also like to congratulate, although she's not yet confirmed, I expect will be confirmed, Admiral Linda Fagan, who's not here today, but as the next commandant and I think a tremendous successor to Admiral Schultz, and I look forward to working with her during my remaining time in Congress. For the fiscal year 23, Coast Guard has requested $13.82 billion, so 1.3% increase over last year. Now, that's better than what you proposed last year, which was a 0.3% increase. But given the current rate of inflation, and you are obviously going to be subjected to that in many ways, shoreside costs, fuel for the ships and all that, I really don't think that that's going to be an adequate amount of funding. I have ongoing concerns were expressed by others about the problems on your shoreside infrastructure. Particularly the inadequate housing. We have inadequate, child care. Those are complaints I hear a lot. And in the areas where there's inadequate housing, they have to go into the private market. Rents are skyrocketing. It's very difficult. And if we want to do what we need to do to recruit and retain our coasties, we've got to do better for their working conditions, and that's really a tremendous concern. When I was in Coos Bay, when the Commandant was there, I think it was a year ago last summer, to get the award, we saw what they were doing to renovate some housing. It was a start, but we need to do a heck of a lot more of that. And you're proposing to recruit 4,200 people this year. That's a pretty high number. I hope you can achieve it. But then once we achieve it, we want to keep them. We want them to do full careers. So, as you know, during the shutdown, I was very upset about the lack of pay for the Coast Guard. Attempted to move legislation to prohibit that from happening in the future, but was unsuccessful at that point in time. The decrease in funding for shore facilities and aids to navigation is puzzling to me with the backlog we have. And, I want to learn more how you came at 180. I assume it was the trolls over at OMB putting pressure on you. Anyway, I'd be interested in plumbing the depths of that. I'm constantly trying to deal with Office of Management budget. Would be much better off without them, but that's for another day. With regards to the Maritime Administration, MARAD's vital, for the successful management of our maritime shipbuilding industries. I am constantly trying to see that we do more U.S., build more U.S. ships, and also that we have a more competitive shipping industry. I note that the cartel of 3 major shippers made more money last year than they made over the last decade. and yet we don't think there's some, collusion or, price gouging or taking advantage of the excuses of the pandemic or whatever in that. It's a real problem. And I want to learn more about the decrease in your port infrastructure development program request compared to the 22 enacted. It all starts with port capacity. In fact, I'm advocating at this point for a mega project so that we can have a new container port. It would be the first direct ship-to-rail container port on the West Coast, obviously very efficient, very environmentally responsible, and that would be in Coos Bay, Oregon, and it can add 10% to West Coast capacity. There's not a lot more land area in LA Long Beach, and it's a heck of a long steam up the Columbia River to Portland. Coos Bay has a lot of advantages if the administration has the vision to move forward with that, and I'm hopeful they will. The president did mention it when he was in Portland last week. But I am pleased to see an increase in the operations training budget, and some of this goes to the Merchant Marine Academy, and we need, again, we need a lot of repairs for aged buildings and facilities and dorms and things there. And I'm also, pleased to support the embark measures which have been designed to protect cadets against sexual assault and sexual harassment. Last year, the Academy has faced a lot of scrutiny regarding its culture of safety for good reason. Fortunately, I've witnessed steadfast leadership of Merit's acting administrator, Ms. Lucinda Leslie, during this time, and she has worked diligently to motivate a major cultural shift at the Academy despite resistance, and I have every confidence that she'll continue to lead capably, competence, integrity, and hold steadfast on the changes we need. The Federal Maritime Commission, I'm pleased to see a 5.5% increase requested for overall funding, so we can begin, hopefully, as the ranking member mentioned, that we haven't found a collusion, but we know there is a collusion. We're dealing with shipping cartels, and you need those resources to enhance your oversight and enforcement capabilities, that's critically needed to lower the cost of shipping, which is going to help with inflation. That I look forward to hearing from all of our witnesses today. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. DeFazio. I would now like to welcome the witnesses. Admiral Carl Schultz, Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Master Chief Jason Vanderheyden, Master Chief Petty Officer of the United States Coast Guard, the Honorable Daniel Maffei, Chairman of the Federal Maritime Commission, Ms. Lucinda Leslie, Acting Administrator of the Maritime Administration. Thank you for being here today, and I look forward to your testimony. Without objection, our witnesses' full statements will be included in the record. Since your written testimony has been made part of the record, the subcommittee requests that you limit your oral testimony to 5 minutes. With that, Admiral Schultz, you may proceed.
Well, good morning, Chairman DeFazio, Chairman Carbajal, Ranking Member Gibbs, distinguished members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. On behalf of the entire service, I thank you for your enduring support of the Coast Guard and our efforts to restore service readiness. Our 2022 fiscal year appropriation reflects Congress's continued commitment to addressing the Coast Guard's readiness challenges and maintaining progress on surface, aviation, and infrastructure recapitalization, while also highlighting the service's increasing role in shaping global maritime affairs and national security. Because of your support, we're acquiring the nation's first new heavy polar icebreakers in almost a half-century to enable a U.S. presence in the geostrategically important high-latitude regions. The operations and support increase of more than 20% between the 2019 and 2022 budgets and the administration's 2023 budget requests better positions the Coast Guard by investing in our mission-ready total workforce, mission-enabling technologies and modern assets and capabilities to meet the challenges today and in the future. But critically important work remains. To advance our national economic and environmental security interests in an increasingly complex geopolitical and technologically sophisticated environment, we must maintain this growth through our operational funding and a keen focus on the resilience of our capital infrastructure. As a multi-mission service, we are exceptionally agile and adaptive, executing our 11 statutory missions simultaneously. And we must apply these same skills to build a stable and predictable PC&I funding of $2.0 billion plus annually to optimize our ability to plan the recapitalization of both our facilities and our assets. While we have been very successful in replacing frontline operational units devastated by recent years' hurricanes, my crews on the Great Lakes praying for hurricanes to reach their region is a poor way and an unacceptable way to do business. The administration's 2023 budget request supports continued progress on the Offshore Patrol Program, Cutter Program, absolutely vital to replacing the capability provided by our legacy fleet of 210-foot and 270-foot medium endurance cutters, which largely operate in the Atlantic. These legacy assets have served the nation with distinction, some for 55 years, but are increasingly more difficult and expensive to maintain. The budget request also enables us to grow our fleet of MH-60 Jayhawk helicopters, which operate with national and offshore patrol cutters as force multipliers. New Jayhawk hulls or converted former Navy airframes per our Sundowner program will enable us to optimize Coast Guard aviation operations both in near coast and distant waters. Beyond 2023, we must continue to restore the Coast Guard the nation needs to ably conduct domestic operations